This is the tried and true method of creating streetwear brands, which is buying blanks from a wholesale company like us and then taking it to a screen printer for them to cook up the designs. You can create products a lot faster. If you go overseas, it's gonna take you 60, 90 days, but finding a screen printer, you can knock it out within 1 or 2 weeks, so that's really good. However, the downfall of it is that it can get very saturated because everyone has access to the same blanks, they have access to the same printers, so you really have to create a graphic or a lifestyle brand that's different in order to get sales. But today, we pulled up to RBY. We're gonna give y'all some insight on what it takes to run a screen print company and what they're looking for when they're working with streetwear brands. All right, guys, so I'm at RBY Prints. They're out here in Atlanta, one of the best print shops out here.
My man, E, what's good? How you feeling?
Good, bro.
Absolutely.
So how long you been doing this?
Printing for 3 years.
You like it?
Absolutely, I love it.
What do you not like about it?
Most people don't know what it takes to produce one t-shirt. So when they find out what it takes, then they like, oh, I get it. Why you charge how you charge, or why you do what you do. So
Yeah.
I think that one of the most things that I don't like about it is people don't know.
There's a lot of the viewers, they're starting out, they don't know about screen print, they don't know about DTG, right? Oh, can you cook up one sample, right?
Right.
What would you tell somebody like that? Like, how can we go and educate the process to them in 15 seconds?
If you're buying bulk, if you already have like a base that you're selling to, silkscreen will definitely work for you. If you're testing things out, like designs or concepts, then I would say DTG, because we can print one shirt. With silkscreen, it's mostly 36 is our minimum, so you got to kind of be sold on the design. You got to kind of already have some motion.
Some sort of motion going on.
Absolutely.
So for the guys that don't know, with silk screening, essentially every single color needs to have one of these screens, right? And how long does it take to make one of these screens?
It takes us about 10 minutes to make it, but then after it dries, we got to let it dry. So that's like an hour. Then, you know, it's a process. It's like
That's for one color, right?
that's one color, right?
So if a guy out there had, 8 color design,
Right.
that's what, eight screens?
Eight screens. If it's on a black shirt, that's 9.
Yeah.
We got to do an underbase on the black shirt. So it just depends on the actual design, how many they want, stuff like that.
To break it down for you guys visually, right? This white color needs to be one screen, and then the other color needs to be another screen. And again, he's saying it takes about 1 hour to make one screen. So that's why when you pull up and say, hey, let me get an 8 color design, I just need 2 of them. Most screen print shops don't really want to work with you because it's just not worth their time unless you're paying like $1,500 or something outrageous,
Exactly.
right?
Now, what we were doing in the past, where let's say somebody wanted a test with silkscreen, we would charge them like $150. But then if they came back and placed the order within 24 hours or something like that, we would apply that $150 to the actual order.
Yeah.
We kind of stopped doing that because if you get 10 orders in a day that want samples, it kind of stops people that got what we were like the requirements. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of push people to DTG or something like that.
So with DTG, it's kind of like, think about a printer, like for a sheet of paper. You could do the same thing on a shirt. So that way you can do all colors, all shades, all hues, and you can just do 1 or 2 pieces, and it's not that labor intensive. However, when it comes to screen printing, if you're doing an order for 2,000, you probably go screen printing, right?
Absolutely, you would go silk screening for sure. And even if you have like a lot of colors, like let's say like the 8 color you gave earlier, in that example, the person that or the customer that has that 8 color, they will have to have enough shirts for that to make sense, because each screen is a cost.
Yeah.
So if you're getting 36 shirts, it doesn't make sense to get silk screen. It makes sense to get DTG, even if you wanted 36.
How much is one screen, like
We
for
charge
one
$30
color?
for one
So
screen.
if you guys had an 8 color print and it was on a black shirt, that'd be 9 screens, 9 times 30. That's like before you even,
That's before we do anything.
yeah, that's before the print cost, that's before the cost of the shirt.
Everything.
That's just to set it up and have him get it to where he can print it for you.
Now, the good thing about the screens is a one-time fee. Say if you place an order today, we keep the screen for 60 days.
Yeah.
So if you within 60 days you come back, you won't have to pay that setup fee again.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that we like to do.
Just to give people an idea of a rough estimate, let's say they were to get, a 1 color shirt, 200 pieces, what would be roughly the pricing on something like that?
Basically, we have 2 prices. One pricing would be with the shirt, and one would be without the shirt. Now, the thing with the shirt, it just depends on the shirt. Next level, Bella Canvas, Gildan, all those will arrange different prices. Solid Basics, of course. Those would definitely, change the price.
Yeah.
But let's just say if the person bought us the items to us, we charge you $5.
One color print, 36 shirts is about $5.
That's just print only.
That's just the print only, not including the screen fees.
Right.
Now, let's say they were to do that same job, but they wanted $200 to $300.
$200 to $300, you'll be looking at about $2, $2.25, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that's the good thing about screen printing is that when you get a bulk order, a bulk wholesale order, that price drops dramatically and you're able to really hit the price points that you need.
Absolutely.
So that's the good thing.
Absolutely. Silk screening, man, I'm telling you, one thing that's good about silk screening is like the creative. You can have any type of design. Like, you know, a lot of people like the all over prints or like the wide prints and stuff like that. You can do that with silk screen. You can do a lot of things with silk screen. They have a lot of different inks. You got puff, you got metallics, you got shimmer, you got all types of things. You know, glow in the dark. You know what I mean? It's all type. You couldn't have it's not a glow in the dark ink for DTG. So it just, you know, it just depends on the direction that you want to go through, what your vision is. And I'm pretty sure silk screen can pretty much help you.
From your experience, from your opinions, what would you say is a better quality print, DTG or silk screening?
I would say silk screen. I think silk screen is still top dog, even though, you know, you got all these other different processes, DTF, stuff like that. Of course, vinyl, that's like very beginner. Transfers to me, I mean, I'm not going to knock transfers because some people are making a great living and taking care of their family off transfers. So I would never talk bad of any type of process. But I just think everything has its own lane. Everything has its space. It's enough room for everybody to make money. I don't have to hate on you because you're a DTF printer and I'm a silk screener. It's like, hey, if I get a DTF order, I'll give it to you because it's all in the circle. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, what was your question? I know I kind of...
Well, what is the quality, or in your opinion, what's better quality, DTG or screen printing?
Silk screen for sure. Silk screen for sure.
So when you guys are starting out, the trajectory of like the print process is you'll start with vinyl, then you'll kind of move into the transfers, then you'll go into DTG, and then once you start getting the big boy orders, tap in right here.
Absolutely.
That's how you get the silk screen and screen printing. Last question. So a lot of people always ask, where do I find a printer? How do I find a printer? And I think it's a great question, right? But I think the one thing that a lot of people forget is, why would the printer want to work with you? So as a printer, what type of customers are you looking for? What type of clientele do you want to take on? Because at the end of the day, it's a service-based industry. There's only so much time and space in a day that you can handle certain customers. So as a printer, what are you looking for in these customers? For everyone that's watching, like, this is the ideal person that I would like to work with.
So my ideal customer here at RBY is someone that sells on the internet. Our tagline is giving creatives back their time. So usually when someone is selling on the internet, the merchandising isn't usually their number one option. Like, we deal with a lot of entrepreneurs that's teaching people something, credit, real estate, stuff like that. So selling a t-shirt or any type of merchandise isn't really their number one option. But they would love to do it, but they don't have a lot of time. So our prime perfect customer is someone that don't have a lot of time. They want to sell items, and we facilitate the process, and it's seamless. So they like, oh, this is why I'm coming to RBY. So it's kind of like the RBY experience. So where, let's say, if we ever happen to move or go out of business or anything, our customer base would be like, man, dang, no, well, not them, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. So I would just say, just to wrap it up, my ideal customer is someone that sells online, that's merchandising isn't really their main thing, but they want to get into it, and they just don't have time, and we can help facilitate the process.
I guess another way to phrase the question, and you probably wouldn't say this because you want to be polite and nice, but to all the guys watching out there, if you want to work with a printer and you want the printer to work with you, there are other things too, right? Like being decisive, making sure that they have motion, because a lot of the customers you're mentioning are people that already have some sort of motion. They are selling courses online, or they have other sorts of income. It's not like this is everything and this is a Hail Mary shot, right? So I think when you're trying to find printers, another thing to think about is make sure you're pleasant to work with, right?
That's definitely true.
Like, if somebody calls you and they're like, hey, I got a design, and then 2 hours later, they're like, oh, let me switch it up. Let me do this. Let me do that.
That's too much. That's too much.
The next time you call him for an order, he's probably not going to want to answer the phone, just to be real, keep it honest. You know what I'm saying? Or if they're not paying on time, if they don't pay, or they're difficult to work with, or they're always complaining, those are things where it's like, at the end of the day, like I said, screen print is a service-based business. It's a people-based business where you have to interact with people. So just make sure when you're calling them, you're ready for exactly what you need. You know exactly what you want. You're ready to pay, and you're a good customer, because remember, there's a lot of people who want to start brands, and there's only a certain amount of good printers. So you want to be in the good graces, so that way whenever you do have orders, they'll pick up your phone call and they'll be willing to work with you. Cool. Well, we'll wrap it up. If you guys need a printer, how can they reach out to you?
On Instagram at RBY Prints. Everything is on there, phone number, email. You can just tap us in, RBY Prints, on Instagram.
Y'all go check them out, all right?
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, man.